Well, good evening, everyone. Today, as the topic has been moted for the discussion, to enjoy the fruit, we should not forget the root. So, over here, the literal meaning of the topic says to enjoy the present situation, we should not forget the past situation through which we have come. So, now the question is that how many of us we are trying to follow this statistics of our lifestyle? How many of us we are going to stick to our point? How many of us are going to stand our own self? So now there is a $64,000 question rising in individual mind. Now the question is that the person definitely can forget the value of the root whenever he comes all of a sudden with a lot of success. The person definitely will not forget whenever he or she is going to burn the midnight oil, whenever he or she is going to stumble before going to get this success or before going to grab this success. So definitely he can give the value always the value of the root in the means from which situation he has called the more. So now on that basis we need to feel that over here fruit what does it mean so. The literal fruit mean that over here the success. The literal means over here the enjoyment. Recently, few days before, I think the youngest fellow who has already come with roses, 18 years of age,
In which field?
in the chess,
Yes.
we know very
What
well.
is his name?
Gukesh,
Gudakesh.
Gudakesh or Gukesh
Mm.
Damaraj Ja. So now the question is that the person I have gone through his profile. I was trying to know as much as possible about him. So at the present situation, he is not going to attach to any social media platform. If he asks to do something, he has to take the permission of his teammate. So now Domaraja, the person who has achieved, who has already shined like a sun. So now the question is that it's not the overnight joy, it's not the overnight achievement. For that reason, he has sacrificed a lot of things. So now, someone like that, we always give the credit to the person who got certain achievements or the person who got certain success. But is it at all possible for us to fathom the fact about our own selves that how the person can get? Is there any person the person is going to realize that if I wanted to get the success someone like this another person, so what are the things I need to do? Over here I would like to give one of the examples who is in the film industry. For me actually is one of the superstars, is really a superstar if I will call, is none other than SRK. Why? Just because whenever SRK came to the city called the Mumbai, at that time he had nothing. But right now he has already enlisted his name in the Bollywood with the gold. Now the question is that how? You cannot tell that he is not only the star who has the back support, but he has the extreme desire that one day I will be one of the superstars in the industry called the Bollywood or the film industry. So that's why that immense he had kept, rather still he is having in him. So for that reason, what happened? He is going to be day after day great than the greater. So now the question is that that particular hunger, if a person has, so definitely along with him, he or she can carry on. For example, in our own institute, if you see, there are many great speakers. They speak fabulously English. But I have seen it's not the criticism or it's not going to be means malign their image. I personally respect them very well. But whenever they speak outside the Bengali language, I totally astonished, rather astonished. Why? Just because how simultaneously they are going to carry on both the languages. Whenever they are asked to speak Bengali, they are speaking very fluently. Whenever they are asked to speak English, they are speaking very fluently. Now the question is that are they forgetting what is their mother tongue is called? No, they are equally going to give the value. That means what? Whenever they are going to speak this foreign language, that doesn't mean that they are going to be very much high makamak. Now the question is that whenever a person can understand the limitation about himself or herself, so I personally feel even there is a fraction of second also, a person will get the slightest momentum that no, I should forget the root. Just because we knew very well whenever a tree grows up, The tree grows up with a lot of qualities. Not only the tree produces the fruits, a tree grows up with a lot of qualities. One of the qualities you will see during the peak summer, the dog days summer, like a day during the summer, most of the animals, even human beings also, they take the shelter under a tree. Whenever any animal is gazing in the field, if by chance an animal finds a tree for the timing, an animal takes a bit shelter under a tree. Why? Just because they knew very well what a calmness weather they will get, what a calmness environment they will get. So someone like that, a tree whenever is going to get the sunlight from the sun, the tree is going to produce the fruit for itself, and after that the tree is going to produces, yes, if definitely the
No,
tree has the
the
capacity,
tree produces fruits for itself.
that's only
Tree
itself.
does not produce fruit for itself.
No, now the question is that whenever a tree, that's what I'm telling, whenever a tree is in a capacity of producing the fruits,
Right.
so there are two kinds of trees we know very well. A tree which cannot produce the fruits, so we call it a barren tree. A tree which is going to produce certain fruits, so the tree has that quality. So now the question is that we cannot enjoy only the tree which is going to produce certain fruits. Equally we need to give the importance the tree also, the tree which has no fruit quality to produce. Now the question, why? Just because that particular tree is going to keep the equivalence, balance means environmental chain balance, environmental chain balance in the sense of what, to producing only the oxygen and sucking the carbon dioxide in the environment which is floating. So now equally we need to understand.
How do you connect this theory with the topic?
Now the topic is that as many people are there, they are maybe not in a very good at something respective their field. But now the question is that we cannot judge, they're absolutely useless. We cannot take their matter as like a peopling matter. Why? Just because in our society, very common thing, we judge people by their degree. If means if a student or if a boy or if a girl is very good at academic studies, they are very good at everything. But why you should forget, everybody cannot be very good at academic level. They have some other perspective.
Yeah, a professor's son does not necessarily become a professor.
No, not at all. But at the initial stage, we need to see a professor's son never can be a professor. That can be equally a professor son can be a better professor, like.
That
But
is inherent quality.
yes, now the question.
For that reason, he doesn't have to remember it.
No, but we have to think about the basement. A basement, what is called, that we need to know.
Who will have to think about base?
We are the
Who
people.
we have to see?
Yes.
Not that particular guy.
No, even the person also thinks. Now the question is, if that particular quality the person carries. Just because I have come to know one thing from many people, they say always the first benchers in school days, first benchers are always great. But in my perspective, I personally feel no, the last benchers are the great. Even they are not only the great, even they are the history maker. Why? Just because in school levels, most of the last benchers are
What
ignored.
has that got to do with their root?
Which route?
You are seeing their fruit only. But
No, not at all. Just because the route they are going to follow.
what is the root?
The route is that they have some another ambition. They are may not
That's
be.
not the root.
That is not the root.
The root is the origin.
Which origins are you are talking about?
I'm talking about the origin of that particular guy who is getting the first position in the examination. You're talking about he doesn't necessarily need to be his father's, just a professor's son or a teacher's son. He may be even a daily laborer's son.
That's okay, all right. But the question is how many days they can hold their horses. That is also a biggest question.
Does that depend on the origin of that person?
Definitely,
His consistency? How
definitely.
do you prove it?
Just because whenever a good quality child, that maybe you take gender wise male or female, we have seen whenever after certain length of time they have already come to know by their sense that we are the great, so now they go astray. In a same manner, there are some people, those who are going to stumble before going to achieve something, after that again they are going to standing up, once again they are running for the success or their achievement, so they do not get astray. Why? Just because they understand their root value from where they have come and they what they are trying to do. So for that reason, in this case I would like to repeat once again, a professor's son cannot be a professor, but a farmer's son cannot be a farmer, but a farmer's son can be in a better position, which we see nowadays in our society. That doesn't mean that I am going to simply means insult both the profession. I'm highly respecting you from my bottom of my heart. But the fact is that what is the hunger? That hunger, until unless a person realizes, had it been so, today Mr. Tendulkar's son could have been a second Tendulkar. Today,
You mean that that hunger is the root?
yes, definitely.
Can it be? Hunger is of course born out of something.
Just
What is
because,
that something?
yes,
Something is the root.
yes. Now the question is that whenever our son is going to see how the father has brought himself
Up.
up from the past situation to present, so exactly the same route the son also need to follow, the daughter also needs to follow.
If
Otherwise,
that be the case, then Sort's son should be a sort. I mean, a sort.
now the question is that over here, what are the aspects that we need to feel so? Now there is a question of sometime before my respectable means Honcho asked one of my
If
co-speakers.
the father hits the people every night,
That-
does that necessarily mean the son will have
That I'm
the
trying to
sort?
say, sometime before my respectable Honcho asked one of my co-speakers that if a father is a drunkard, so do you think so that whenever the child will grow up, the child will be also a second drunkard or a dipsomaniac? Obviously not. Now the question is that what are the activities that a child first understand, or rather needs to understand. Now the question is that drinking is not at all a good habit. Everybody knew. Whenever a child knows that drinking is not good, but my father while is drinking, maybe there is some other reason, so for that reason I should not start. Now the question is, if this self-analyzation, whenever a person analyzes,
Analysis.
self-analysis, whenever a person whether starts or regrets, so definitely there will be something positivity.
Then the root has no role to play.
No, now the question is that the root in case of what? That is the main thing. Now the root that doesn't mean always the quality wise. The root that doesn't mean from the very beginning I have been telling one thing. The root means over here the source of energy we need to understand. The source of energy, whenever a person will understand from the source of energy, whenever the person will get the better position, so that particular point then that should be a route for the person, and the person will be kept on following. Otherwise it is impossible for the person to carry forward the days to come. So for that reason, really it is in the practical life we should keep in our mind that what is our past position, we should not forget. Even we are in the future better, even we are at present better, that doesn't mean, but how we are coming in the present or how we are going to the future from the past situation. So that's why there are many hurdles those who are going to face, only they are going to keep their horses. Why? Just because they knew very well, today if I can tolerate this pain, today if I can stumble and how the stumble pain is, even today I cannot get the success, no problem, but tomorrow there is a ray of hope, and in between today and tomorrow if I keep my hard work, so definitely. Now those who are going to get the success, they are not from different planets. The planet is the same, called earth. On the planet called earth we all are, but the question is the division by the mindset. Now the
Kushal, thank you very much.
thank you very